Hello, and welcome to We Are the Watchers of Movies. I know that this is Lauren, by the way.
This is Samantha, by the way.
I know that we've been gone for a couple months. We just had some personal stuff going on, and now we're back. So, hello, everyone. It's nice to see you again.
We can see all of
four
you.
followers on SoundCloud. You guys are the bomb.
Our fan.
Our fan. Our one fan. Anyway, so tonight we watched We Have Always Lived in the Castle, but before, we are going to talk about our top 5 favorite movies, because we were kind of going back and forth on that, and we tried to record something while we were driving, and it did not go
Yeah, we got lots of car
all.
noises.
It was bad.
But I think the top 5 is kind of a fun thing to talk about.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
So I should clear, top 5 for me, the movies that I'm going to name are perpetually in my top, but sometimes the top 5 can get, jumbled around a little bit.
No, they don't have to be in order.
Yeah. No, I just mean, sometimes I'm feeling another movie and it might replace one for a little while, but maybe the one that I replace goes into the top 10,
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So I don't want us to be beholden to these. This is our top 5 for right now.
For right now,
so
that's good.
A year from now, maybe one could be different or two could be different,
Yeah.
So I don't want you to feel, pigeonholed.
No, so. I do not feel pigeonholed.
Okay,
so,
good.
All right, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go. I don't...
Because I'm questioning whether or not I even know what my
Okay,
top
I'll go
five
first.
is.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So, number 1 for me, and I don't know if this one will change, is Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
It's a good one. It's a good movie.
I have watched Interstellar, one after another. It'll stop, and I've restarted it before.
That's what I did with Annihilation the first time I saw it. And I know you hated that
I did not
movie,
like Annihilation, but... So Interstellar is my number 1. Adventureland. I love Adventureland. It was marketed all wrong. I wish they would have called me first, because I would have said, no, everybody should see this movie, especially if you worked a part-time job, in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, Adventureland. Then Rushmore, which is a very formative movie for me, because it was my introduction to the dry sort of humor that I'd been looking for all my life, but didn't...
Is that Wes Anderson?
It's a Wes Anderson,
okay.
Yes. And really good. One of his best movies, in my opinion. And I'm a Wes Anderson fan, but I think he's getting progressively more Wes Anderson-ish, and I think that's a problem. He's becoming I've
heard that.
He's becoming a little formulaic, so I think Rushmore is a really good example of a great story and a great acting and directing. So
I heard someone say, and I don't know if this was you, but I heard someone say that he's becoming a caricature of himself.
I think that was me.
That was you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's everything is, look at this still frame of all these shots that are books lined up and things, and it's it was quirky and cool in the Royal Tenenbaums say, but now that he does it in every movie, it's becoming a little bit the fans want this, you know. So
yeah.
But I still like Wes Anderson, so I'm not trying to dog him. I just think that maybe somebody has put him in a rut. I don't know if it's the fans or if it's him himself, but he's in a little bit of a rut, and I think Rushmore was so good, and I hope that he can get back to that level of storytelling again.
Yeah, I understand.
And then 4th is Elizabethtown, which we
yes!
share. We both love
I love Elizabethtown.
And I feel like Elizabethtown is really underrated for some
me
people.
Too. It's so good.
It's
Dude.
such a good movie, and it's...
every time I talk about it, I always get gushy.
I know.
I've seen it a million times, and it just it keeps getting better.
It does.
It really does, and you appreciate it more. And I think as you grow as a person, you appreciate it more, because it's you get the struggles that these people are going through, and they're and I've heard, and I'm just gonna go on a tangent here, because this drove me nuts, but I was reading something about it, and someone said that Claire is a it was something like a martini of a girl like served in a glass or something. Like it was very like she's just there to be like the cutesy little girl, and I was like, nah,
No.
I was like, Claire is a really well developed character.
She's a catalyst for change.
Yeah, well, and she has all these little quirks and everything that are her own, are of her, and it's just.
And I think she has a pretty dark. I think she's got some darkness in her because
I think so too.
I think has a made up boyfriend that she uses to keep Drew at a distance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so she's not a simple character.
We should do an episode on this.
Yeah, because we both love it so much. It's so good. Oh,
it's
such a good movie. I think it
is.
So go see that if you haven't
favorite.
watched it.
It's beautiful. And do not judge it based on the casting, because you will be sorely mistaken if you do.
Because I've had friends say how much they dislike Orlando Bloom. And I'll agree that I love him as Legolas, but I think his role in Elizabethtown is just as likable.
I think that's by far probably one of his best characters.
It's such a strong, it's a good movie. And
it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. So, and then my fifth movie.
I could go on and on about how great that movie is.
My fifth movie is The Sound of Music.
Oh, I love The Sound of Music.
I'm not like I like musicals, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like a musicals person. But The Sound of Music is so much more than a musical to me.
It transcends musicals, honestly. Like
it's really good.
It's got so much heart to it.
It's
and
got
the cast
social
is awesome.
commentary. The cast is awesome. Julie Andrews is awesome.
She's great.
It's a really sweet love story. Like, there's this part that always touches my heart when they're sort of her and Christopher Plummer. Now, spoiler alert, but this movie's like 60 years old, so if you haven't seen it, that's not my fault. But her and Christopher Plummer are talking about when they first fell in love with each other, and she said, like, when you blew that silly whistle to call his children, and he said, when you sat on that pine cone at dinner, and I'm like, oh, it just melts my heart. It's so cute, because the kids put the pine cone on their chair.
Her laugh is hilarious.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway,
I love that
that's my top 5.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Now it's your turn.
Okay, my top 5 are Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, okay.
I love Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, that's a really good love story and a good.
I love that movie. It's so good. It's like Elizabethtown's one of my other favorites.
Okay.
I'd probably say Skeleton Key is definitely in there. Yeah.
That movie is.
I love Skeleton Key.
It's frightening. Like when they hang the little kids who are in the bodies of the servants. Oh my gosh.
No, they don't hang the kids. They hang they. Oh, that's right. The
servants,
okay,
souls are inhabiting. But it's
that
frightening.
was super disturbing, and you're like, oh my god, they just murdered their children.
Yeah.
Like, and they don't know that they did.
Oh my gosh, that is a crazy movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Made me scared to ever visit Louisiana.
I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. Let's see. I would say one of my other favorites is. I mean, let's just be honest. It's always going to be the Lizzie McGuire. I love that movie. But that has, like, a strong tie with, like, The Parent Trap, so I kind of put those, like, in the same category. I know. Yeah, I'm cheating a little bit. It's fine.
No, I have a fond memory of watching the Lizzie McGuire movie with you, but I don't know if I'd ever have watched it on my own, so...
I saw it 4 times in theaters. So I think we talked about that in the Spider-Man episode.
Yeah. We're trying to get Lizzie McGuire to come up in each episode. So I think that's 4, so now you have 4
more. American Beauty has always been one of my favorites. Yeah.
American
It's unfortunate it happened. Like, Kevin Spacey's a total piece of shit, but it's been one of my favorites for years and years. So it's...
I kind of have this... I don't want to get too far into it, because what he did was terrible, so I'm not making excuses for him, but sometimes... When it comes to movies, I think, well, it takes a village. Kevin Spacey wasn't the only part of American Beauty. He was a big part of it, but there are a lot of other people who were involved in making it, so I don't think we should necessarily shun work.
Just because one person, yeah. Well, and one of my coworkers, our coworkers, I guess, but one of the people I work with says, she's like, I have a rule, and it's, like... It's okay to like their previous stuff before you found out they were a terrible person.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, okay. I'm like, yeah, because, like, I mean, after, the whole Mel Gibson thing happened, he, like, that super derogatory and super racist thing he said to his wife. And, we've all found out, wow, okay, Mel Gibson's kind of a huge dick. I had really liked What Women Want,
Oh,
I love Signs. Signs is a
I love
great
Signs.
movie, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Signs could be in my top 5 depending on the...
Signs is so good. That part where
man.
his son is having the asthma attack and he's like praying and he's like, why do you do this to me? Or what? I'm like, oh my God, the first time I saw that I was sobbing in the theater. Like, I was just like losing it.
There's still parts of the movie Signs that I prefer not to watch. Like, I know I've seen it a lot. I watch it often.
What part? Is it?
There's 2 parts.
Mm-hmm.
One is when the little girl wakes him up in the middle of the night. She's like, there's a monster outside my window. Can I have a glass of water? And he goes to her room.
Abigail Breslin.
Oh, I know, yeah. I know. And she's so cute. But he goes to her bedroom and he's putting her to bed. And he looks out the window and there's an alien standing on the roof. Like, I just got chills thinking about it.
Oh, dude.
And then, obviously, the scene where Joaquin Phoenix is watching the birthday party.
Or the birthday, yeah.
And, those parts, I've seen them before because I've watched the movie multiple times, but most of the time if I'm watching it, I'll turn away at those 2 parts because it still freaks me out.
Oh, that part where she's like, there's someone outside my window. So in my old house on the other side of the state, I had a bedroom that overlooked, like, a roof, and it looked a lot like that at night.
Oh, jeez.
And I would, like, be super terrified that I was going to look out and there was going to be just a man or, like, an alien standing there and flipped me the fuck out. All right.
Scary. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was good.
Fun.
That
was fun.
Good top 5.
Well, I think it was a good comeback thing,
Yeah. It's a fun topic. I think
it is.
I like hearing what people's favorite movies are.
We should do, next one we should do, like, our worst.
Oh, yeah. 5. And number 1 for me would be Annihilation.
Mine would be that movie about that black box, and I still don't remember what it's called. Maybe Black Cube or something? I don't know.
Sounds good.
It was...
So, we've always lived in the castle. We have always lived in the castle.
We have always lived in the castle. Mm-hmm. So, as I told you, it is a novel. It was a novel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the same woman that wrote The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay.
Shirley Jackson. So, I actually looked for it at the library ebook app.
Oh,
but
okay.
They didn't have it, which is funny because they are, like, super weird and random with what they have. Like, they didn't have Catching Fire, but they had Hunger Games.
Oh,
and then I'm reading I'm reading a book called Starvation Heights, and it's about this woman who, it's like a nonfiction, it really happened. This woman who had, like, convinced all these people to fast in order to, like, get better health.
Oh, yeah.
And all these people died under her care.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it took place in, like, the early 1900s, and I heard about it on, I think, like My Favorite Murder, maybe. And I was like, I have to read this book. And then I found it as an ebook, and I was like, that's awesome, but they don't have Catching Fire.
That's weird.
Or Mockingjay. So I was like, all right, I guess I won't read We've Always Lived in the Castle because I'm not going to spend $12 on a book that's like 50 years old. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
I thought that, I had to look her up, Alexandra Daddario, who was the older sister, I thought her performance was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, she was very good.
She was the best part of the movie for me.
Really?
I loved her. We'll unpack it a little bit. But,
how did you feel about the movie?
I think the movie in the whole, like the whole movie as a whole, I don't know if it's really that great. Mm-hmm. But there were some performances that I really liked, and it was not boring. I was totally engrossed. Like, I wanted to know what was going on. I think it was super strange.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, really strange, but I thought, so her character, the older sister, Constance, is so, like, it's like she's on the edge of a cliff the whole time. Yeah. And the way she smiles, like,
it's haunting.
So good. And you're just, like, you're led to believe at first that she's crazy. Like, she's bananas, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you find out that as the movie goes on, you're like, I think the little sister might be the one who's actually crazy. And then it does sort of a swap-a-roo at the end. And then it's even more sad for the older sister because she's not crazy yet, but she might get there because she's, like, pretty much imprisoned with her sister.
Oh yeah,
because her sister's crazy.
Well, I think that there's a lot of genuine love between them.
I agree. Yeah.
But it's like, well, first of all, Constance is like, there's that one part where what's the little one's name? Mary Cat. She comes back from town, which was like super traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like that was horrible. Like I was like, oh my god, I like no wonder she gets so anxious and is like, no, I can't do this on a day that I'm not supposed to go because like I have to prepare myself mentally for this, and I'm just like this poor girl. And Constance comes out and she's like, look how far I went today.
Yeah, like she's like afraid to leave, or was afraid to leave the house before, and she's working
like,
her
what,
way.
like 100 yards maybe?
Yeah.
She
should, I don't know.
She's not going to leave. Like,
she should get an award for that performance. I don't know when the movie, I don't know much about the movie. When did it come out?
I think like a week or so ago.
Okay.
Yeah, like really recently.
Because
I saw the advertisement for it and it like immediately pulled me in, and then I watched it like that, which hardly ever happens. I hardly ever see an advertisement and then watch the movie like right after I see the advertisement for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I usually just add it to my list and then not like forget about it for a year. So
it's I don't know. There's some weird stuff. There's some things that I question, like some weird incesty sort of storylines.
Okay, I'm glad that you said something because
how could I not say something?
Well, like, because I was like, is there something weird like going on between the girls? And I was expecting them at. Oh, you thought it was. Oh, through Charles. Oh,
but okay, no, wait. There is a couple moments when I wondered if Mary Cat would start a relationship with her sister, the way she looked at her sister. So, like, at the end, after their house burned and they went to, like, the garden and laid down, I was like, I really did think for a second, oh, are they gonna, like, tongue kiss? Because, like... Yeah. So, I don't think they're totally off base. But
good.
My
I'm
main
glad that you
comment,
said something, because I noticed that, and I was like,
But my main comment was about the cousin.
Oh, Charles and...
But okay. I do know what you mean about the sister relationship.
Good. Yeah,
so you're not totally off.
Yeah. Okay, good.
They did not kiss. For all the listeners, they did not tongue kiss, but it was really weird.
They didn't kiss at all, but...
No, there was no incest between the sisters.
No,
and
but
really
there was, like...
no incest between Constance and the cousin, but there was this weird implied, like, if the house hadn't burned down, they may have...
ran off with each other or something. But he 100% was there to seduce her, steal the fortune, and leave.
That's what I was wondering.
Like, he was not going to stick around. There was no way that he was going to take her with him. He was just doing that to like get her. Like, he knew how to get under her skin and get close to her and everything, and tell her what she wanted to hear in order to get the money. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering. That was my main question. Well, not my main question. There was a lot of questions, but one of them was like, okay, for the viewer as well as Mary Cat, I felt like we were all in the same shoes because he just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we never found out whose kid he actually was because the uncle was living with them.
Right.
But he wasn't the uncle's son. So apparently their father had another sibling that had a child, but that was never explained. Yeah, so he's so mysterious to us. To the viewer as well as the sister. So, and he showed up and he seemed like genuine at first, but then he was so concerned with the money. I was like, okay.
Yeah, when he freaked out about that box.
Yeah.
And Constance is just like, it's money, like, but that to them, it's like, that's what they've grown up with, where it's like, it's just money, you know? I mean,
it's just some silver coins.
No, to someone like you and I, a bunch of silver coins are going to be like, shit, I'm rich now.
Exactly.
But, like, we're not going to, but, I mean, there was a whole lot of dark shit going on in that family. Like, my God, I mean, ugh. The father, so when they showed the dad, I was like, this guy looks like Julian McMahon. Like, do you know who that is? He was on Nip Tuck.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Did you see Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba?
No.
No, it wasn't good. Don't watch it.
I don't plan on watching it.
But he was like, for when Nip Tuck was on, he was really good looking. Okay. And I mean, we can always take a break. And...
Okay.
I'm trying to make it as
seamless as possible.
I know, but like when someone leaves, I'm like, what?
That's why I mouthed that I was gonna.
She stepped away from. That's why she sounds probably really far to you guys right now. Anyway, so I was looking at him and I was like, this guy looks so familiar. Like he kind of looks like Julian McMahon, but like, and I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. But I was just like, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? That was like my first instinct. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? So, yeah, I mean, we should kind of start talking about that later. Let's talk about when she goes to town for the first time.
Okay, all right.
Mary Cat.
Mary Cat goes to town to pick up groceries every Tuesday.
Yep, and she has to bury. Would she say like evil items or something, or items of evil?
Yeah, she like finds an item of evil and buries it so that she'll be.
It's like her dad's stuff though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always her dad's items, which is, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what it is. But if all the items of evil are her dad's items, and then she goes into town and there's that, and she stops at that cafe or whatever.
Yeah, and there's like, so she gets the groceries and. The townspeople really don't like the family, and they never explained why. Just the townspeople were, like, mad because the family was rich? Is that the only reason?
It sounds like... This is my theory, and you're right, they did not explain it. My theory is that the father owned something in town that a lot of people worked for, and he screwed them over by not paying them proper wages.
Okay.
Or something.
Right.
That's my theory.
That's as good as any, because they talked about, like, some of the townspeople's comments were like, oh, not giving us any... money or spending all that silver coins or something.
I mean, they were
like harassing her. Like they would say things about her as she was standing in line at like the grocery store and stuff.
Yeah, they
and
were
I
like
was
whispering about her. Or
what kind of people would do that to these poor girls?
I know. Well, I mean, then you have to look at it from their perspective. Is that Constance? They thought that she murdered her parents. Like, she was acquitted, but
when Mary Cat was going to town,
not mean that she's innocent. Just because someone's acquitted does not mean that they're innocent.
She had a voiceover that said like 6 years before that. Her sister was accused of murdering her father.
Yeah, so there's, like, animosity towards the father.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like the mother was just kind of this like, whatever you need to do, honey, like, very, like, doormatty,
Did she die at the dinner as well?
Yeah, she was also
poisoned. That's because it was in the sugar or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the sugar, yeah.
All right. Is that why Julian, the uncle, was in a wheelchair? Because he got poisoned a little bit?
That's kind of
He was a crazy, like, his character, and I'm wondering... Sorry, I'm jumping.
No, you're fine.
So I was wondering, like, the whole movie, is he actually talking about the younger sister, but everyone thinks he's talking about the older sister?
I don't know, because I don't know if he ever knows.
Because he's, like, sort of crazy. Like, he's
a
half-cocked as well, and he's supposedly writing this chapter book about about what happened. And he keeps talking about, like, the poison was in the sugar, and she did this, and she did that. And you're led to believe that he's talking about the older sister,
right.
But I'm wondering now if he knew who the actual killer was, but he was just so crazy that he couldn't.
I mean,
like,
I wonder
nobody
what
really, or people just assumed it was the older sister. Nobody assumed the younger sister because the older sister was the one who was like finger pointed. Right.
I wonder, like, I know arsenic makes you like puke and stuff. I don't know if it would paralyze you though.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because I heard that in when I was listening to something else, about this woman that, like, killed a bunch of people using arsenic.
Oh, okay.
That it, like, makes you really, really sick. Like, it's, like, a really bad flu, it looks like. So,
okay.
And to someone who, like, they're just like, oh, I just got a really bad flu, like, or,
Oh,
so.
did you ever see Breaking Bad?
No, I never saw that.
So, near the end of the series, Walter White, I don't know, I don't think it was arsenic, but he kills one of the people. He kills them by replacing her artificial sugar or putting poison in her artificial sugar. And he calls her, like, in the evening, and she's, like, laying in bed with, like, the flu, and he goes, oh, you're feeling pretty sick, huh? And he, like, basically leads on that she doesn't have the flu. She's dying from poison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's intense.
Yeah. What if someone else used that sugar? Like, they didn't throw it away. Yeah.
No, I think he did it. in
He did it in a way that like no one else would get sick.
like he met her at a cafe, and I think he put like 2 sugar like
like
doctored sugar packets in the packet container and like the little
Oh.
container on the table, so she used them.
Okay.
Anyway, he was pretty sad. I mean, I don't think he'd care if other people
He sounds
died.
You know, I always
The
try to
journey
get
of
into that.
the journey of Walter White is maybe one of the best story arcs,
I know,
character
that's what I've
arcs
heard.
I've ever seen in a TV series.
You know, and that's like my thing too. I love that kind of thing. And the first episode kind of scared me off because there's the scene where he's like having sex with his wife and he's being a little rough, and it like totally creeped me out, and weirded me out, and I like didn't want to watch it after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so back to the movie. So
yeah.
Arsenic.
So Arsenic. Yeah, I don't know if it can like paralyze you, which is weird because you'd think I'd look that up, but anyway, we have the lake house on in the background,
And
like
she just
on
said,
mute.
"I love Keanu Reeves."
And I just mouthed, "I love Keanu Reeves."
So I'm just wondering, if the uncle is telling everybody, or the people that come over, like they don't get many visitors, like telling them that it's actually the little sister, but
Right.
people just assume it's the older sister.
I don't think he knew though.
I don't know either, but
There was
knew
a
there
lot of
the sugar.
unanswered
I don't know, yeah.
questions in this. Yeah.
So anyway, she goes to town,
Mm-hmm.
and she's sitting in the cafe, which the waitress at the cafe seems sympathetic. She likes her, she smiles at her, and she's friendly with her.
Right. But then there's that guy,
Like a man.
the fireman or whatever.
Mhm.
Took me a second. I was like, fireworker? That's not the right word.
Fireworker?
He's a fireworker? That sounds
Yeah.
mystical.
Yeah,
I like it.
He
Fireworker.
deals with fire. Him and his friend come in, and they're young guys.
Yeah, and like one of them like fixed the porch step or whatever, and then there's the creepy dude who wanted to marry Constance or whatever, and
Yeah, but he didn't seem creepy. He seemed
not
like a
creepy,
normal guy.
but like
he was
he
mean.
was a dick though.
No, I mean,
that's
he
what
was.
that's what I meant, like a dick.
But it sounds like him and Constance had like a
thing,
a relation, like they loved each other, and her dad forbid it.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a jealousy thing.
I don't know.
By
well,
the dad.
The thing is, at the end, when it comes out that Mary Cat was the one who killed the father, Constance says he was horrible to me, and so I'm like, are they alluding to like abuse, or is she just talking about that she wouldn't let her get married? He wouldn't let her get married.
I think it was. I would guess it was probably sexual abuse.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like all signs sort of pointed to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they seemed very like repressed.
Yeah.
And the cousin that came to visit was starting to like mimic the father, wearing his clothes and doing his hair the way the father did, and she was like swooning over it.
Yeah.
So that seems really like somebody who's not healed from some
right.
traumatic
Well,
abuse.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah. It's to me. That's what I assumed. I guess I assumed that it was sexual abuse.
That's what I assumed as well.
And that's not something that I think you necessarily, like, as a viewer, need to know the details. You know what I mean? Like, you can be like, oh, he was wicked to me, so, like, yeah, if he didn't let her marry this guy, she might consider that wicked, but if he was not letting her marry that guy, it was probably because it was, like, jealousy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, he was like, no, you're mine, you know?
Yeah.
So.
It's really weird. And then, so he, doesn't he say, like, the guy says to Mary Cat in the cafe, like, leave or something? He's pretty bad to her.
What does he say?
Remember?
I don't know.
Like, get out of here or something.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's not nice to her at all.
No.
He's very bullying.
But I thought there was a couple times when his friend seemed like he looked at her differently, and I thought, does he have like a little thing for Mary Cat? But that never came. Like that storyline never.
And
then later in the movie, he was nasty to her. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and then kids and adults were taunting her as she walked home.
Yeah, that was
really weird.
I mean, that's got to be like the tiniest town, you know?
It
everyone
seems like
knows,
it, yeah.
like everyone. And of course everyone knows, what is it, the Blackwoods or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Blackwoods on the Hill, like, you know.
I liked that it took place in the 60s. I thought the production design of the movie was so cool.
It was nice.
And the house, I loved that they lived in this giant house and it wasn't in disrepair. Like, it was a really nice house still.
Oh my God, it was beautiful.
And I really like that because so many times when they make, like, movies that are kind of weird and they take place in a big house, the house is like, you know, it looks like what's her name from Great Expectations house. It's all like
Miss Havisham.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one, I liked that the house was in really good shape because the sister was like trying to stay sane by keeping house.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Constance was like,
yeah, like in like the Haunting of Hill House, their house was like kind of downtrodden and stuff.
okay.
Like it hadn't been lived in a while. I mean, and this is the show and the book, and the show is much different from the book. Like they might as well not even be named after each other. Like that's how different they are. Literally, the only thing that's the same is the house is named the same. There's a couple characters that are named the same, and like 3 of the characters have the same names.
Okay.
That's pretty legit, yeah. But the one thing I did like about it, and I don't know if you noticed this, is that there was almost like a dream-like quality in some parts.
Yeah.
And when I read Shirley Jackson, when I read The Haunting of Hill House, the whole book was kind of like that. It was this almost like haunted dream-like quality where you're like, you know, like what's going on, but also like it just seems, I don't know. And I like that they I'm assuming that's what her writing is like in general. So I like that they did that in the movie.
I think they made the house and the town sort of. It almost seems like the house is an allegory for like purgatory or something. Like the house is imprisoning these girls, but they don't feel imprisoned in it. And the only reason Constance started questioning it was because the cousin Charlie came and started telling her stories of like Italy and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was sort of like broadening her horizons in that way, but it was like they're almost like caged animals where they feel safe in the cage, but they shouldn't feel safe in the cage in the house. I don't know. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can definitely understand if your entire life has been this house and this tiny, tiny little village where everyone knows who you are. Because she said that she's like, I've never been anywhere because Father says that everything is here, everything is United States or whatever. So, but United States is a huge place, so it's like there's a lot of different things to see in the United States. And you're definitely not going to see it all in, like, I'm guessing, like, New Englandish area or whatever, you know? So, but you're right, though. It does imprison them because I can't see them ever being even, like, really comfortable enough to leave. They both get so anxious just leaving the property, like.
And Mary Cat was, like, she wanted to do everything in her power to make her sister stay with her, so. It's really a fascinating relationship between the two of them and a fascinating relationship with the house.
Yeah.
And even after the house, like, burns, they still stay there.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I would, but that would, well, I guess
they obviously both have mental problems.
Yeah, big time.
I think if Constance, which I think we're right, she probably was abused by her father, so she's got issues that need to be resolved that probably never will be.
Right.
And she's got a crazy sister who's a murderer, who is murdered by the end of the movie. She's murdered three people. I guess three, because the uncle's.
You know, technically that makes her a serial killer?
Yeah.
Well, actually, she doesn't technically fall under it. It's three or more people, but it's with the intent to like bring pleasure from murdering these people. So she's not doing it because she's like, I'm into this. She's doing it mostly out of like self-defense.
Yeah.
You know.
But so she's.
But that does technically 3 or more. She's technically
and then her sister, killer. Like the last thing, one of the last things they say to each other is the sister was like. Mary Cat's like, I wonder if I could eat a whole child. And the sister, Constance, is like, I don't know if I could cook a child. And then they smile.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mary Cat's done killing.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm wondering
Constance
that too.
is in charge of not only keeping her sister sane enough so she doesn't just go killing.
Right.
But she's also, like, stuck there herself.
Yeah.
it's
well, and
it's
any
dark.
like future suitors that might happen for Constance, who's a beautiful girl.
Oh,
you know,
she is.
like
Yeah.
I mean, that could be like something that Mary Cat would get really jealous over, or like not be like.
Well, she was super jealous over
of
the
Charles,
cousin.
yeah. But Charles was like, he was throwing up a lot of red flags there. And well, she was always kind of iffy about him though from the beginning.
Yeah, even before he was throwing up red flags, she did not want him there because
that's true.
I think she could sense that he was taking some of her attention, some of the attention that Constance was giving her. So yeah.
Yeah. Constance was like, God, that scene where he's like, she's just running around like a slave and he's holding up his teacup as she fills it up. I was like, fuck you.
No, I like...
He was such an asshole that, like, he's like, oh, she works herself to the bone, but he can't even be bothered to, like, pick up the teacup.
No, I like that, like, there was, like, you'd hear this constant sort of soundtrack of him saying, Constance, like, calling for her to come do stuff for him.
Yeah.
And I agree with you.
She was totally subservient to him.
And like, she was totally willing to be subservient because...
Oh. Well, that's probably what she was used to.
Yeah. I imagine that, like, in the middle of the movie, when they were trying to eat dinner, I thought this must be an exact picture of, like, the dynamic between the mom and the dad of the family.
Yeah.
Like, the mom was just, like, nervous and smiling and trying to make everyone happy, and the dad was just, like, a terror, making everyone nervous.
Oh, my God.
So it was just, like, history was doomed to repeat itself, but Mary Cat actually put a wrench in that by burning down the house. And then killing him.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And, you know, she's got mental problems because after she hit him in the head with the snow globe and he was dead, she stabbed him.
Oh my God, yeah, he was bleeding. Like,
she double tapped him.
Yeah, she was like, I just really want to make sure this guy's dead. Sebastian Stan did an awesome job too.
He did do a good job. Good. He was really good.
Did you ever see The Covenant with him? It's also with like Taylor Kitsch and like Chase Crawford, who was in like Gossip Girl.
I don't think I did.
Okay. It's kind of okay. But it's like about these teenage boys that basically have like magical powers.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's great.
There's some
parts where you're like, wow, this would not fly today. You know what I mean? Like there's like one scene,
like is there like super racist and sexist things?
Well, a little like there's like one scene where they like use their powers to like blow up a girl's skirt so you can see her butt and it's like in a public place, and I was like, it made me like super uncomfortable. It's like not cool. Anyway, so I watched it because I liked Taylor Kitsch at the time. He's cool now, I guess, whatever. But Sebastian Stan was the bad guy in that, and he was very good at being like creepy and shit. Oh, Stephen Strait. That's what I was thinking of. That's the main character. Stephen Strait's in it. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
All right. I'm getting. Well, as soon as you said it's about four boys with magical powers, I pretty much knew that I wasn't going to watch it.
Too. They're not even like, oh, these are nice boys. They're like douchey boys. So you're like, I don't really care about these guys. But yeah, so I've seen him, and that was actually the first thing I ever saw him in. But he's very good at
he's
playing that like
evil.
Uneasy, unsettling like character. Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what he's gonna do. You know, because I think his career really took off after he played Bucky. So
big time.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited to see what other stuff he's gonna get himself into. You know.
Yeah.
I hope he plays more creepy characters.
Yeah, he's good at that. He's good at creepy.
Yeah.
Very good.
But don't get like Sebastian Liss said, buddy, don't get yourself into a rut, okay? Don't become the next Joe Pantoliano. Or Ray Liotta. I was thinking character actors. Jeez. You know, because Joe Pantoliano always plays like the corrupt cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He does. Or he's like the corrupt guy in The Matrix.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that one? Keanu!
So bringing it back to Keanu. Oh, look, he just discovered that his mailbox is a time machine.
Do watch The Lake House, though. It's a cute movie.
Yeah, I liked it when I saw it. Yeah.
So we should probably talk more about
the movie, yeah.
Okay, so, what else? So, yeah, Charles is getting all up in their business and everything, and of course at first he's like, no, I'm just here to visit and everything. But the second he arrived, I was like, he's not here to just visit.
Yeah, it's strange behavior.
He wants the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he finds Mary Cat burying a gold watch, and he, like, flips out. He's like, this is gold. We don't bury gold. And Constance is like, it's fine.
Constance is like, it's just
let him
money.
bury stuff. Yeah, just let her bury
money,
stuff.
Sweetheart. What's the big deal? It's just a couple $100.
So he's very concerned about the money.
Yeah. And then he just becomes really demanding. And, that scene where they're at dinner and he takes the napkin and he puts it around Julian's neck. Yeah. I was like, wow, that was totally degrading and humiliating. Like, and you know that he was doing it on purpose. He's like, so you don't spill on yourself, buddy. Like, he was, like, talking down to him and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying so hard to make it so Constance only paid attention to him.
Yeah.
Because, like, Julian and Mary Cat, I guess, both have this, like, they're able to get her whenever they want her.
Yeah.
And she will do whatever they want her to do. And so Charlie was trying to, like, make her focus on him so he could...
Yeah. Well, so he could manipulate
her.
Yeah. That's getting what he wanted. Because Mary Cat and Uncle Julian were like, nuh-uh, you don't call up in my home. And so when I first saw Uncle Julian, I was like, man, that guy looks just like Crispin Glover.
Yeah.
I was like, but like not at the same time. And so I was like, okay, I have to know who this actor is because I didn't recognize him.
Okay.
Because whenever I see him, he always has like jet black hair.
Yeah.
So I'm like really used to seeing him as like George McFly, or Creepy Thin Man from Charlie's Angels.
Or Willard.
Yeah, or Willard, yeah. Shall we name other movies? Those are the only movies I know that he's in. But I looked it up and I was like, oh my god, it is Crispin Glover. And I was totally... So I watched it twice, because the first time I watched it, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it, so I had to watch it again.
I like that you watched it, didn't pay a lot of attention to it, texted me and said, we should do a podcast about this movie.
I watched enough of it.
But then you had to watch it again. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
But, so I kind of, like, my view on Crispin Glover's character is a little skewed just because I'm so used to seeing him as, like, a creepy character.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That I was expecting him to kind of be creepy in this, and then when I was like, oh, he's just a guy that's, like, got some mental, what's that? Like, he's got some mental issues.
He's got issues,
He's got a lot of what I'm assuming is probably, like, dementia,
It seemed like it.
Yeah,
and he was super focused on the murder.
Yeah. And he kept going back to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. He would ask Constance a question in the beginning of a scene, and then in the middle of the scene, he'd ask her the same question.
Yeah, yeah. I had a feeling that he wasn't actually writing anything, and he was just talking a lot about it.
Yeah, that's what I think they all, like, she was placating him because he wasn't actually writing anything.
Right, exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He just seemed like kind of just a lonely dude, but they didn't explain why he got into a wheelchair. Like, there's so many things.
So that's why I was wondering, like, if the arsenic or the poison did something to him. Because
I was wondering, too.
There was a scene where he was laying in bed, and Sebastian Stan came up and, like, put him to bed almost. And he was like, have you ever been slowly poisoned?
Yeah.
To death or something? So it kind of...
almost died from poisoning or whatever?
Yeah, so it kind of seemed like...
Yeah.
The poison had done something to him.
That's what I thought. And... maybe he was always in a wheelchair, and it just, like, affected his mental capabilities.
Maybe. I don't know.
But you don't ever find out.
Yeah.
So.
And then he dies in the fire.
And he dies, yeah. He just locks himself in the room, and that was depressing.
I guess he asphyxiated, I assume.
He committed suicide, basically, more or less. I mean, if he wanted to live, he would have lived,
Yeah.
But, so should we talk about the burning?
Yes.
Let's talk about the events leading up to the burning.
Okay.
So that totally chaotic and crazy, creepy-ass scene where Charles is, like, running up the stairs with Mary Cat, and she's screaming, like, no, Father, no, Father, no. Like, I was like, oh my god. oh, this
really
is
weird.
bad.
Yeah.
I was like, this is bad.
He like
bad,
picked
bad.
her up by her neck practically.
Yeah, he was scary.
He was losing it.
Oh
yeah.
my god! Like he was like, I almost wonder if he didn't hear the fire, if he like would have ended up killing her.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because.
Like he was, I mean, he was like holding his hand like really tightly to her mouth. And then Constance was terrified, so she like was frozen in place. But I don't know. I really like Taissa Farmiga, the girl that plays Mary Cat. I thought she did a really good job. Everything else I've seen her in, she's like totally a different character. So I was very like she was in a lot of American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But this character was so like not innocent, but so like young, and like I don't know. I was impressed. I was impressed with her. I thought she did a really good job.
I thought she did a good job. Yeah.
But so then he heard the fire, and which, God, like when she dropped the lit. Oh my god! You could see the smoke rising out of it before she dropped it into the thing.
Oh,
you know, the pipe.
The trash.
And I was just like, and it started lighting on fire. I was like, you don't want. I was like, you don't stare at the trash after you throw something out to make sure it doesn't light on fire. Like I don't know why.
No,
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
She did it intentionally.
Oh, not to light it on fire though. I don't think she.
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah, she saw the smoking pipe and she picked it up and dropped it in the trash can.
Oh, I thought she was just throwing his shit away. I didn't think she was.
No, I think she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh well, I could be wrong, but there was clearly smoke coming from the pipe.
Yeah.
And she noticed it because they showed her seeing it, like seeing the pipe.
Oh. Well,
so I thought she did it on purpose.
I thought she just did it just to throw his shit away. I thought she was just being.
No, because he can pick stuff out of the trash.
Right.
Like, she dumped, like, sticks on his bed in, like, water.
Yeah.
It was weird.
So, like, in the beginning they showed, like, the house burnt, right?
Yeah.
They showed, like, a couple scenes. So, I knew that a fire was coming.
Yeah.
But I thought that she was pouring gasoline on the bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, she's going to light it on fire.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, I saw it in the fire, but then I was like, oh, I don't think that's gasoline, because there would have been, like, a follow-through with it if it was. You know what I mean? Like, she would have just dumped gasoline on there. But, yeah. I don't know. I didn't think that she did it on purpose. I thought she just threw it away because she was just pissed off.
Interesting. It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I thought. But, man, fire is terrifying.
Yeah.
And all those people, like the townspeople or
they
whatever.
were messed up. Like, it was like an angry mob. Like,
oh my god. And then they went in there and trashed the place.
They trashed the place. And then when the girls came out, they, like, were trying to, like, beat her up or something.
Or something, like assault her. Like Constance. Like, that was
really weird.
Not okay. That was like, really scary.
They had like three advocates. They had the woman and her husband and then the waitress.
Yeah.
And nobody was listening to them, so they weren't.
No.
They weren't.
I know.
It was crazy.
Oh, mob mentality is terrifying, man.
And then they all felt bad, so they brought food up.
Yeah.
So weird.
I broke one of your chairs. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So all the people the night before that were, like, throwing rocks into their house and, like, destroying things and being like, let it burn, felt guilty the next day, so they all brought, like, baked goods and set them at the doorstep and stuff.
Like, too little,
weird.
too late.
Yeah.
Like, you broke my
weird behavior.
Things.
But I think that's that's kind of a nice, like, picture of human.
Yeah, at least I guess they felt bad. They could have just.
I feel like people in the heat of the moment will do things, and then the next morning they'll be like, "Uh-oh,"
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I think people have the potential to have really evil hearts, and all their good deeds the next morning are just for show. And they're still evil, so I don't know what the commentary was actually trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because that's a good observance on that. Because it's like they could just be doing it because it's the right thing to do versus actually feeling remorse for their actions. You know, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really have like a lot more to talk about. Do you have more to talk about?
I think it was a strange movie. I generally get annoyed if people say something is weird and they don't follow it up. I'm like, okay, weird. That's like, why is it weird? You know?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways something
Yeah.
can be weird.
So I think this movie is pretty bonkers. It's out there.
Definitely.
It's an interesting look at people who are on the verge of like really losing their minds.
Oh, big time.
And like barely holding it
always
together.
Looked like her shoulders were tense. Like
Yeah.
her smile was like I mean, I think it was genuine at sometimes, but there were definitely parts where she was just smiling to like ease the tension in the room, or she didn't know how to react any other way other than smile. Right. And she's probably used to that too, because if her dad was such an angry man.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Mary Cat was saying about how it was something really like just nasty. Like people are lazy, and if they worked hard too, that they can get a castle like we live in or something. And she was saying it like very harshly, and I'm just like, you're a child. Like you don't understand that this isn't something that
everybody has.
Yeah, like or everyone can even work towards.
Yeah,
you know, and it was a very interesting contrast of this is a girl who's never going to have to work in her life. Yeah, and how she is taking her father's view on the world, this super negative view about people, and just applying it to her own life. You know,
and I think it's an interesting. Now that you mention it, like it's an interesting study in like generational, just cyclical generational being stuck.
Yeah.
Like, she killed her father because he was wicked, but they're not changing anything, and so they're in line to... She's going to become even more wicked than he is. I mean, she already is. She's murdered people.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
So, they're not actually safe from anything, even though he got murdered. So, his threat is done. They're not actually better off.
No.
So it's interesting in that
regard. Well, and especially Constance. I don't think Constance is ever going to be really safe because Mary Cat is a serial killer.
Yeah.
You know? Like, essentially, like everything that she has done, every single person that she has killed has been because of her sister.
Yep. Exactly.
It's an interesting way to see how Mary Cat mind works, especially like what you said after she hit him with that very heavy snow globe that broke. Like, those things are not light.
No, he was clearly dead.
Yeah, he was definitely.
And then she stabbed him again.
Yeah, that was gnarly. And I mean, I think that Constance loves her sister, but is it love or is it fear?
I think it's a little of both.
I think so too.
And she's grown up nervous and scared of her father. So she's got... Yeah. She has no normalcy to think back on. No. She has nothing normal to think, okay, this is what I should strive towards.
Exactly, yeah. It breaks my heart when people, children grew up in environments like that, and they just have no idea, this is what's normal, this is what's not normal.
Yep.
Like, we don't behave this way, or we do behave this way, yeah.
Yeah.
And with her, it's... I mean, I would be surprised if they literally never leave that town ever in their lives. If they die there. Because I don't, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up just totally with each other, just alone with each other.
Spinster sisters, yeah.
And they'd be and I was actually thinking this as I was watching it, is that generations down the road, they're gonna be the witchy sisters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're
gonna be
lore
have you ever heard about the house on the hill? There's a story about 2 sisters that turned into witches or something, and the kids will all dare each other to go into this house that's long been abandoned, and so I was kind of thinking about that.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. So
it was. I mean, I think I liked it. I don't know if I would necessarily watch it again. I think I wouldn't also recommend it to everyone. I think it would be a specific person I would recommend it to. You know.
Yeah, I don't know as a movie. I don't know if I enjoyed it, but for a one time, if you watch it once, I think you'll be engrossed. And I think there are some performances that were really, really
I think
well
it had
done.
a lot of redeeming.
Yeah,
a bunch of
and
redeeming
the production
stuff.
value I thought was really good.
Yeah. But overall, it was. I mean, there was a lot of questions that were unanswered, like what we said.
Mm-hmm.
But, decide for yourself.
Yeah, take a look. It's on Netflix.
Yeah. Because, The Haunting of Hill House, I mean, obviously that's different from the TV show, but the ending of that, too, was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And this movie isn't scary at all. Like, it's more of a psychological drama than anything. Yeah. So it's not scary or...
Yeah.
There's no jump scares or anything like that. It's not even gory. I mean, like, there's some murder. You get some blood, but it's not like...
Yeah, it's not. Like, it's like tasteful blood.
Yeah, it's tasteful.
It's tasteful blood.
Yeah.
You have like a tasteful nude, but it's like tasteful blood.
Yeah.
Tasteful violence.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'd say. It's kind of, we're kind of like both a little like, yeah, I guess, but also if you don't worry about it. You're not missing anything special. So, yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Follow us on Facebook. We have Instagram, which I update a hell of a lot more than Facebook. In fact, if I can help it, I try and stay away from Facebook because those studies are really true. You get depressed going on Facebook.
Yeah. If I see, like, a lot of the people I follow on Facebook feel like everyone wants to know their political ranting.
I know.
Like, everyone and their brother thinks it's interesting to hear your political views.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Tell me more, please. Let's be more polarizing. This is my favorite.
For me personally, it's everyone's like, I'm having such a wonderful, happy life. And I'm like, are you though?
Yeah.
I'm like, or are you just posting all the highlights?
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's just a little bit of like the bitter side. It's not, I wouldn't say it's bitter. It's more just like, I had my own shit that I dealt with, And
I have a theory.
Like,
I think the more people talk up their lives on Facebook, the more miserable they are.
I think so too.
So, I don't know.
I think so. No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think it's like, it's a way of putting on like a mask for the rest of the world to see, so they have no idea what's going on underneath.
Right. So don't be miserable.
Yeah. No,
listen,
I'm pretty happy.
This is what you should do. Because I was telling someone about, I was like, I prefer Instagram because Instagram is so chill. It's all photos. It's so much better. And the person I was talking to... If you want to follow
all the hot gay guys on Queer Eye, you totally can.
The person I was talking to was like, oh, Instagram is better. And I was like, totally. And then I had a light bulb come on and I said, okay, but first I have to clarify. I follow a lot of dog pages and cooking pages. So maybe it's not less drama. I just don't follow all the people that I'm friends with on Facebook. So if you want to have a drama-free life, you follow celebrities, dog memes, cat memes, cooking channels, and watchers of movies.
Yeah, exactly. And personally, I don't look at anyone's Instagram ever. So
I like photos.
I'm terrible.
I really like Instagram. I really do legitimately like photos.
I do too.
So I think Instagram is fun. And then some people do this thing that really bothers me, where they slip one past and they do like a photo of all text, and it really bothers me because I think you're a cheater. You're cheating. No, you don't do that.
I feel like
I don't think
that.
you do that.
I don't.
I'm not talking about like memes. I'm talking about like people will write like paragraphs and take a screenshot of it and then like upload it on Instagram as like a photo, and it really bugs me because I think you're ruining the only beautiful thing left on the internet.
The only beautiful thing.
Show me more dog photos.
Show me more of those Japanese gardens, please.
I need more dogs being friends with ducklings.
Oh my god, I love interspecies friendships. They're the best thing ever. My favorite are horses with cats.
Yeah, they're cute.
I love them. Because it's like this gigantic horse and the cat's like as big as the horse's head.
Oh my gosh. I saw a video of a chimpanzee giving a dog a bath recently, and that was really cute.
That is cute.
So see, Instagram is where it's at. And we're not even being paid by Instagram.
No, we're not. So you guys should follow us on Spotify. We're on iTunes.
Spotify
is SoundCloud.
Well, yeah. iTunes, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Just repeating
She's just repeating myself.
Yeah.
And if, give us those 5-star reviews because that helps us. Apparently. That's what I've heard. Anyway, I don't know.
So all 4 of you.
All 4 of you.
All 4 of you go on
You guys
iTunes.
are the best and we love you. All right. Are we ready to end this?
I think so.
Okay. Press stop. Don't press pause. Press stop. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.